Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hello. Hello. Hello, EJ. Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you for joining. Hello. Hope you're having a good day. I hope it's not so hot wherever you are. I think it's raining here in Toronto area. Someone asked, is Canada really boring? No, Canada is not boring. I think you guys need to go watch that video, right? What the full video, not just the beginning. I mean, the beginning was to get your attention, but what the full video. I'm having an amazing time in Canada. So Canada is not boring at all, at all. Hi. Hello, everyone. Think we'll give Plateau a few more minutes to join. How's your day going? You can drop your location in the chat. Where are you? I'm currently speaking from the GTA. That's the Greater Toronto Area in Canada. Where are you? Hello, Joy Buffet. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Plateau is here. I think I'll add him now. Invite. Hello. So, yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hello. I can hear you
Hello?
very
Can you
clearly.
hear
How are you
me?
doing? I'm
Very
well.
well.
I'm well.
How are
Nothing
you
much.
doing? Yeah.
I'm sorry coming late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope everything went well.
Oh
No,
yeah,
no,
you
no,
went
it's
really
fine.
well.
Hope
Oh yeah,
hope
very
you went
good.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Plus,
That, that's good to
yeah.
hear. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Keep
Thank
up
you.
the
I
good work.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll jump right into it. So hello everyone. Someone asked a question about Canada. Just drop it in the comment section in the question box. So to everyone that just joined, there's a question box at the bottom left right corner. Just put it there so that your questions are not lost in the comments. So my name is Ayo. I'm the founder of Tips and Joy, where I share interview and career tips as well as tips on transitioning to tech. I started my journey as an engineer, a petroleum engineer, and I moved to tech, moved to Canada as well. I've lived in Nigeria, the US, and Canada, and I offer several services. If you need tips on, if you need a clarity session, I mean, it's free. You can set up some time in my calendar. If you want a resume revamp, interview preparations, I have that too. Just check the link in my bio. Thank you once again for joining. I'll hand over to Plateau. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining. I
you
appreciate it. Yeah.
for having me on this. I really do appreciate it. I recently I woke up and then I just got a message that, oh, you have to be in a meeting now, and I just found out, oh, I actually have to be in that meeting. So from there, then I jumped here. So someone said there's sleep in my
Yeah.
eyes, and I
Thank
agree.
you.
Yeah, I have like, but yeah, my name is Gabriel, and I have a background in infrastructure engineering and some data, and currently I do some things with machine learning, like building machine learning infrastructure, and I've been doing all of these things for over a little over 7 years now, if I would say, and with me, I'm also the founder of TechJack, a platform for educators where educators come and create their courses and like sort of like help their trainees' life easier and help them become successful. So that's pretty much what I do, and I'm excited to be having this conversation with you. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I see all your posts and comments about transition to tech. Some of them are funny, but I mean behind the
Yeah.
fun, I mean there's a message there, right? So thank you, and we appreciate you. Um, First of all, I wanted to ask, what was your career journey like? Did you also transition, or have you always
No,
been in
I've
the
never
tech
been in the
space
tech
too?
space. So I've never always been in the tech space. I'll tell you. Yesterday I remember. So I belong to like a team where we're building like a new product in Africa, right? So I'm currently like the infrastructure engineer in that team. And then yesterday we've been working for over 2 years now, And we were just having conversation, and the engineer was like, "Oh, what school did you go?" I said, "Oh, I went to OAU for my first 2 years." And he was like, "I went to IFE too." He was like, "What did you study?" Engineering. I'm like, "No, economics." And the guy was like, "What? Like, what are you doing here?"
Wow.
I'm like, "No, man. I mean, I learned everything I'm doing here and all that." So I've never had a background in engineering or like tech. I've always been like an matter of fact, I was a political science student. Then I moved to do that. Yes, I was. Why do you think they call me Plato?
Seriously.
That's Plato is a Greek philosopher, right? So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So
wow. I
I
didn't
did
even.
a lot of them. I did
Wow,
politics,
wow, wow.
philosophy, and a little economics in Ife. So for 2 years I was there. Then I moved down here, and then I just did economics because I wanted to become a professor of economics, which I am never going to be again.
But you never know, right? Yeah. And someone said now he's a
Oh, someone say,
saxophonist.
yeah, I
Yes,
play.
I see that
Yeah, I
on
love
your
music
on
too.
your
I
stories.
play music a lot. I practice every day.
Okay. So so how was it for you? How was the transitioning journey for you? What was the
um,
motivation?
Good
Yeah,
question,
how was it
actually.
for you?
So
Yeah.
the motivation was nothing but money. I'll be very honest with you. That's how I started off, right? So, but then
Okay.
eventually it
Yeah.
turned into passion because then that's something I learned, right? And I think everyone trying to transition, 90% want to transition because more is a lot of money, right? But eventually when you transition, you find out that the money is good, but is it really worth? So that was my original, way I transitioned. And also, as at that time, I was just in between. The way of transitioning when I transitioned, I feel like it's a different era from now. Like then, there were a few things. There was
Hmm.
lack of information on how to transition. And secondly, it was if you were
Okay.
able to get that information, transitioning was smooth. Like you literally would do an exam, the interview was literally on the phone or maybe walk into like the office and boom, you got a job, especially if you got a certification. So it was, I'm not going to like try to make it sound like it was so tough getting in. It was actually, I think for me, it was easy because, people were not really exposed into like tech then. And post COVID that
Oh,
shifted a lot of things. So I'm proud to call myself a pre-COVID, tech guy. You feel me? But yeah, COVID.
Pre-COVID gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah, because I know it was post-COVID that did the is it that the money increased
Um,
post-COVID? Was it this, especially
so
in the US,
post-COVID came
or
with a lot of assurance to work from your room. So that was a lot of
yeah,
things that changed
yeah,
for many people. So you're like, okay, I would rather just, work in tech and all that. And then because people were just home, there was not
yeah.
really a lot to do. So there was more learning then. People were just, upskilling pretty much. Yeah.
True. Yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. So in terms of, like, for people trying to transition now, and I'm just talking about the 20, because I hear a lot that 2023 people trying to get jobs is very difficult. The market is tough. Do you have any strategies, or how to overcome this
I'll tell you,
period
and
of
screen,
time?
someone
Yeah.
should screen record this. So the thing is that the problem right now is a lot of things shifted immediately. I think early last year there was projection like a lot of jobs will be out and people will get laid off. So immediately after the layoff, a lot of people in the market and people are trying to get in back. Now the demand changed. So and the way the demand changed is like the 100% remote is not really what a lot of employers are looking for again. They want people to now come in and do hybrid. And then because a lot of people already have that, intuition like it has to be 100% remote, so everyone is looking for 100% remote job. And the truth is that has increased, like, I don't know how to put it. It reduced chances of people actually getting some jobs. And like even me, like whenever I try to, I try to just try out, apply just to understand the experiences. And a lot of recruiters are saying, you know what, hybrid, like come in 2 days, come in 3 days, and stuff, sort of things like that.
Yeah.
And not experimented. I advised a couple of people like, why don't you just be open to working from office? It's fine. I mean, even because if you're looking for a job, it comes with you're demanding for it. You really need a job. So I would say even if it's to build your experience, get something for hybrid or be willing to go into office and watch. A lot of things are going to change. And while you're in office, start planning your, how you would upskill, because the better you are, the more the better you can make, certain, demands. So after a while, my friend did it. He got a office job. He started going into office. Then after about 3 months, he told them, look, I have a wife and, she's pregnant. Actually, his wife was actually pregnant at that time. And he said he needed to work from home. And because of what he was doing and his contribution to the team, they were willing to. And after his wife delivered, they were like, oh, are you coming back? I was like, where? I'm not. So, and he's, so I would say be open, like be flexible and prove yourself. Not really prove yourself, but just be open to it. And if you really need a job, that's one thing I would say. That's the challenge.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, that's very, very important, because like what you say about remote, what some challenges that other people face is that, for example, they're just transitioning to this new role. So they, first of all, they have that imposter syndrome. And sometimes it's better to manage it if you're remote. So for example, if I'm in a meeting and someone says something I don't know, I can quickly Google it, right? And try to get information. But now I'm in a meeting where people are opposite me and people have that fear, like, I can't manage it. It has to be remote. So that's another part of it.
I just always think about it like the way we learned, like I learned when I started. My interview was on site. Like I was talking to the managing director, like the director of cloud operations, one-on-one. I remember exactly. Like, I mean, maybe I was lucky, but I passed the interview. I don't even know how I passed it. I think it's just God, right? So when I resumed, I went into office, and a lot of things people think about going into office as a tech person is not really what it is, honestly. Like the typical way is it's not even how it used to be. You just go into, they just want you to come into office, not because they want to, like, see you prove yourself, or you would have to face a panel. Honestly, most people that go to office, they just go into this one cubicle, and they just do their work. So the worst that will happen is someone walks to you and asks you a direct question. And for every time I've been in that situation, I've always found a way. And that's why things like that, you have to be prepared for the next day. Always, you don't know what is coming, kind of thing. But I think you'll be able to manage it. And the worst that could possibly happen is you get fired. And if you get fired, you get another one. But I've almost never seen anyone that went on site and you were like, oh yeah, we caught this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what she's doing. So just, be courageous and go for it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because even in some offices, they will go into the office, but their meetings are still over Teams.
Exactly.
It's frustrating. Yeah, so that's, it's really frustrating. Then another thing people always say, especially when I have conversations with them, is, like, because of the layoffs at the end of last year and this year, it seems like there are a lot more people in the market, and it's very competitive. So like some people even say, oh, if you got your job before 2023, don't come and give us advice on how to get a job in 2023. Like 2023 is so different. I'm like, how is this the case? So aside like remote work, what other thing do you think, or is causing this? Because yes, the layoffs, there are many more people looking for jobs right now. And is there any strategy or anything you think they can use to overcome this?
There's still one specific driving factor, right? That I know. So 2 weeks ago, we were interviewing a couple of people. You will still be shocked that, in as much as we say there are so much skilled people out there, there are still a lot of people that don't even know what they're doing. And there's a thing about hiring process. Like, I'm part of my company's hiring team, and I'm not gonna lie, hiring is very tough. It's a lot of work, and that's because you're speaking to this one candidate, and before you speak to this candidate, you look at their resume, you're like, geez, this person is good. Like, it's gonna kill it. We found the right person. And then when the conversation starts, you're like, I don't think this will work. And imagine interviewing like 15 people, and out of the 15 people, just one person is able to, move to the next level. So one of the things is that, and I'm saying this from a place of, I don't want anyone to take it anyhow, but just take it as something that is coming from a place of what I know and what I've seen. A lot of people are being mediocre about getting into tech now, and that's because of the way people that recently got into tech are making it look like, oh, become a cloud engineer in 7 weeks. No, you can't. That's the truth. And then that creates like an impression of, oh well, this guy, he said I can be a cloud engineer in 7 weeks, so I can be a scrum master in 2-3 weeks. I'll just, read this thing and then I'll just go do it. And it's a different reality. So during interviews, a lot of people have actually been seen on the job doing what they're supposed to do and not looking like exactly what it portrayed to be when they were trying to get the job. And that sends a lot of messages to people, and informations go around a lot. So it's like they keep increasing the standard. And the way you can beat that is it's honestly simple. Just number one, surround yourself with people that actually know the real work. Not people that are gaslighting you and telling you you can become an engineer in 6. I'm not saying you can't, but the reality is you cannot become an engineer in 6 weeks. There's so much more to do. Even if you learn all of the concepts, it has to sink in. It has to be a part of you. You have to continuously do projects, try things out, fail at those things. And yes, so those are the things that actually shape you up as an engineer. Even myself, up till now, there are certain tasks I have to do at work, and I'll look at the task. I don't know anything about it. But the problems I've solved in the past, they are able to shape me to understand approaches. So it's not even about knowing it now, but it's about exposure to people that know it, and then rolling with that and continuously, practicing. It's I think it's underrated in cloud. Like now, when I teach people, or when I connect them to people that teach them, I emphasize one thing. I'm not saying don't learn the practical, all of those. That's why you don't see me talk about certifications again. I used to be so obsessed with certifications. Now, certifications are practically useless. And I mean it from a place, I'm not apologetic about it. And that's because everything is becoming the real life. You could get on the job today and they are telling you to deploy a bunch of things, and you only came in with the knowledge of the certification. So I think a lot of people should get out of the mediocre way of getting into tech and actually learn it the real way. And projects will help you, honestly. Like that's something I've always been yelling from the beginning of time. Like do projects. And I'm still doing projects too. So
yeah, I like that you say that, because to be honest, many people just hear of tech, they hear of money, and that's what they want to do. Like so for example, if maybe it's now 6 weeks they've been applying or something and they haven't gotten a job, like I'm not no more doing, then they move to the next thing. At the end of the day, they are cloud engineers, they are project managers, they are business, they've done so many training and they're now confused. I have a lot of people that come to meet me about that, and what you said is really true. Like maybe people that have joined, they've passed that message like, oh, it's so easy, just get in, and now it's like this is becoming unbecoming. All right, thank you for sharing. That is really, really, really valuable. So I wanted to ask about some non-coding roles that you think, well, I'm a Scrum Master and a project manager, so that's one of them. But other non-coding roles that people can transition to.
Very, very good question. So there's something called product management. I mean, I know you know product management. And so here is something that I never even understood this up until now. I think one of the best non-coding that I would, recommend is product management. And I'll tell you why. So with product management, you practically can, especially people that are looking to break into, maybe they are not sure where they are going exactly. I think with project management, you can take a stab at product management, my bad, not project. Product management. And the reason being that with product management, you can practically work with any division of tech. So there can be a product management for a team that is trying to build a software product that may be like healthcare software product. Now, what that can do for you is actually to understand about software development and have an idea if this is something you're looking into. There is also a product management for people that are like within a machine learning team. So depending on the kind of team you're in and maybe your willingness to move around those teams. And the reason I say product management is because a lot of things in product management, when you get into it, you find out it's just common sense. And I'll say, and that's because I'm currently technically a product manager for my team because I'm the CEO of my company, and then the building of the product, I'm involved in the process of the workflow, building out the requirements, and then having like the end-to-end, you know, flow process, even up to like scrutinizing the designs and making sure requirements are being transitioned into the design and like do like back. And even in the process, you probably do some scrum, maybe like, you know, if you're even more exposed or your team is actually open, you have to build out the user stories in sort of like, what do they call it? Yeah, exactly. In different, and then have like your roadmap to where we're going. And you now find out that a lot of these things is I've actually been doing them in my real life. The only difference is that I don't have those terminologies like, you know, cadence, workflow, you know, user stories, agile, whatever thing. So I think another way it would also be helpful is because it might be a little easier if you are open to working with startups, right? So meaning you're not really going to get paid as much as you want to. If you're willing to make the sacrifices, like look for companies that are very small, like people building small product, and have a conversation with them and ask them, you know, I'm willing to become a product manager. Of course, with the right training. I don't think you should spend so much time, you know, like months doing trainings. They are like, I have a training for product managers that I'm even trying to make for free, like just to help in a way, but I'm not kind of like done with how to publish it yet. But I feel like, you know, that's one space that I have actually found very, very helpful for people to actually quickly get into and transition, especially if they can talk to people that own startups in mid-sized companies, just to get in and, you know, do it like in the real life office. And also design too is another thing, like product design, but that requires some technical, you know, understanding of how to, you know, position things. But if you're very open to experimenting and you want to do product design is another thing, like UI UX design. Just you can, you know, leverage products like Figma, Adobe, I think I don't know whatever. Yeah,
people use Canva too.
Graphic design though. I think graphic design can be a little more complex than product design in terms of like graphical, like creating design and all that. But generally, if you have an eye for like good things and you can like, you know, have an intuition for how you want the direction of something to go, just start creating. So the idea is to be able to learn something that would not require you to get a big job to now understand it, you know. So that's some, especially for people that are not in, people that are like people that are in other developed countries. I always try to advise them to start with things like that. They can easily get a job with startups, you know. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that's for non-coding roles. Please don't forget to put your questions in the question box. It's at the bottom right corner. The next one is for coding roles. Like, what do you, first of all, people see coding as, you know, very technical. I'm scared. I don't want to do all of that. But first of all, what do you recommend? And then which one is easier to
so
get
for
into?
coding roles, right? So when we are even saying the coding part, like there are different, you know, areas for it. One is there's software engineering, which can be the front end design or the back end design, or even a full stack, which combines, you know, both. So I'm privileged to work with software engineers every day of my life because I'm building a product that requires software for people to use. And I'm going to be very honest. It's being a software engineer is, I wouldn't say it's tough, but it requires time and experience and continuously doing certain things. So if someone is looking for like fast money, don't try to do software engineering. You get frustrated. I can tell you that one. Now, that requires coding, 100% coding, of course, understanding workflow. Now, there is a part of tech where you can decide to code and you can decide not to code. And I wouldn't really say code per se because there's different complexity to code. Like you can say you're writing code, or a lot of things that people even see that they call codes are not necessarily codes. Like it could just be like, you're writing codes, of course, but it's like actionable scripts that are doing certain things. So if you're in cloud, you don't necessarily have to be in-depth, like the in-depth part of coding that you see software engineers do. So for those, think about it this way. in cloud, you can do a lot of things manually if you wanted to. Now, you can convert those
Oh,
manual implementations into scripts, and that, especially
okay.
when you are continuously
Okay.
doing them over and over again. And that's not automation.
Well, so like
Thank you.
an
And that's not
automation,
necessarily
yeah.
software engineering. I mean, of course, you are using software to write it and all that. And for roles like that, I would say coding just it gives you like a very higher advantage. It doesn't make you understand cloud engineering, for instance. It just gives you like an advantage that an employer would say, oh, this person actually understands, codes. At least when we're trying to
Exactly.
deploy applications that are being used by our software, because the thing about something like cloud now is that you are building an infrastructure where codes that have been written by software engineers can live in, right? So
Yeah.
it gives you an
Yes.
advantage that I would want to work with you because you don't write the codes, but you have an idea of what it is. So if you're trying to bring it into environment you are building, you can
Yeah.
probably interact better with them. And that's where the advantage of maybe writing
Them.
codes will come in.
Okay.
And also, a lot of times in roles like that, think more about automation. So I don't want us to mix,
So are
yes,
you
being
talking about
a
being a
cloud
cloud
engineer,
engineer
like
now?
more of
Yeah.
like
Okay.
the ones that require something that looks like code. I would say just automation is enough. Like cloud automation, there's so many things that I'll probably find time to build out some of those templates. And another part is
Okay.
data analysis. Funny enough, data analysis doesn't even require codes, except we are trying to define what code is. So data analysis, the most I mean, it's technical, but it's not a coding technical role like that. So what data analysis would typically require you to know is Microsoft Excel is big. And I tell you, Microsoft Excel is not going nowhere. Like Microsoft Excel is the oldest, I mean, not the oldest, but the most popular data analysis tool I know. I've been using it from time until now. Employers still need it. I think people underrate the power of Microsoft Excel. Please. Microsoft Excel is
True.
really
True.
powerful.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do with it, and you can also connect it to other third-party tools like SQL. So, understanding Microsoft Excel, Microsoft SQL, or maybe like Postgres SQL, but generally the language, structured query language
True.
SQL, understanding how to write that, and a lot of those are also common sense. They are not necessarily like logical stuff. A lot of logical stuff they are like conditional, but it's not as deep as building out a complex system, and also visualization of those things. So when you have data, understanding how to tell a story with the data set. So those are like the things that I would say I'll consider the technical, needs for like people that are trying to, transition into tech quicker.
Yeah. So which one is easier to get into? Like the coding ones, like the coding rules. Which one do you think is not easier, but like for someone that is coming from no tech experience at all, which one is more friendly or more,
I'll
more
say
conducive
Python
for that kind of
actually.
person? Yeah.
But the truth is that, the problem is that if you
Okay.
learn Python today, right? The question is, what are you using that Python for? So you can now use it for like
So to do,
maybe, and the thing is
yeah.
that if you are looking for a cloud engineering job, for instance, Python is good, but it's not necessarily going to like be the building block of everything you want to do. So, and I would say the
Everything
one
true,
that
true.
I can recommend the most is learning SQL. So if you learn SQL, you can easily get a data analysis job, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's easy to get a data analysis job. I don't want to make any job look like it's just easy to get into, but definitely I would say data
Yeah,
analysis
yeah,
with the
yeah.
understanding of Python and SQL. Of course, that Excel baseline knowledge would always shape everything up and would bring it together for you. I think those two coding skills, SQL is not a coding skill. Coders will kill me for that. I don't like to say SQL is coding, but it's a language sort of, so you can use it to run queries and all. And Python is definitely a coding language, and Python is very friendly. Python is like you're speaking to someone. It's practically English. Yeah, so try
So,
it
but
out. Python
yeah.
is amazing.
Mhm. All right, thank you. So I'll touch some questions quickly because the person has asked for a while. Can someone get a cloud engineer role without AWS
Yes,
certificates?
absolutely. As of now, you can. As of the time I was learning, you most likely would never be able to because employers are so, you know, discriminatory about like getting that certification. But now, honestly, they don't really care again. And I've even, I mean, most times, like even the people that I have interviewed, when I see like certifications or professional AWS, whatever, I don't care about it. I just look at what it can do, answer questions. So right now, it's not really, they don't really care about it so much. They really care about what you've done, like implementations, like what are the problems you've solved, what was your team structure like, what pipelines have you, I mean, if you're getting into DevOps, what kind of pipelines have you built? Do you understand Git, like version control systems? And do you understand some automations like, CI/CD and all this stuff? So honestly, if you focus more on that, you will find it really helpful. I mean, I'm really against certifications these days. I don't know what to do. It's good though, just to validate your knowledge. But if you're trying to get a job, certification right now, I don't think it's, except they are explicitly stating their certifications. Oh, you need to have this certification, and that even leads to the question like,
Description.
why are you creating?
But most companies do, to be
Yeah,
honest. Even though in the interview they might not ask you anything about it, it feels like
they will
on the
put
job
out this.
description they will put it there.
I've
Not
seen it like they say, oh,
what they
have
say,
like
yeah.
associate whatever in this. Honestly, just
But
working without the
yeah,
certification.
yeah. So someone asked, please, how can I get into cybersecurity? I don't have
Yeah,
a tech
that's a good
background.
question. And so, but it's not a clear question, and I'll tell you why it's not clear. It's because so cybersecurity is in different, is divided into different sphere. Like there is on-prem cybersecurity, there is application security, there's cloud security, there is threat, I think threat detection and ethical hacking and all those stuff. So it depends on the space you're looking into. But this cybersecurity sounds like the conventional cybersecurity, which is not necessarily like they like all this
Cybersecurity.
penetration testing or GRC, which is even compliance part, like more of the compliance and all. So depending, but if you want to break into it, I think it would be good to look into like compliance, audits and compliance. Yeah, that's the word I'm trying to use. It's easier to like get yourself started there, and then you can start finding your way around, and you don't necessarily have to have a tech background. So yeah, cybersecurity is a very wide field, and a lot of people don't know, and it's understandable because not a lot of people say so much about how it's really divided into even
Or
myself,
cyber.
I got it confused until I got into cloud, and I'm like, oh, okay. And if you think about it, if you want to do cloud security, you have to know some cloud because you can only secure what you know, right? If you want to do application security, you
Sure.
really have to understand how applications work. And I actually have a lot of couple educators that are using my platform that are amazing, cloud, cybersecurity, yeah, whatever area.
Sure.
And it's not my own area of specialization. And I try to like step back from
Okay.
talking too much about what is not my area because yeah, I don't want to mislead someone. But definitely you should look into different part of different division of cybersecurity. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
person has said thank you, I think in the comments. Yeah. Let's go to the next. Okay. So the next question was about, can I get a cloud engineer job without any AWS
Yes, with
certificate but with projects?
projects.
I think we
Honestly,
already
you
answered
can.
that,
You
right?
can. And I'll tell you why. So recently, I one of a user that was using our platform, she reached out to me like, oh, there's this job I'm trying to get. I don't have the experience, but I've done projects, and do you think I should? I'm like, yes, just send it to them. Just tell them these are the things you've done. And employers are even beginning to embrace honesty these days. I mean, of course, with a little bit of sanity with this, but she was able to send the project, and they even reached out to. I think they reached out to me and say, "Oh, did you supervise the project?" Of course, I did supervise the project because they were doing the project on the platform, and they also had documentations for all of those projects and things like that. So I would say any day project over certifications. You'll find out once you start doing it them yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And even when applying, just on your
Exactly.
resume, having a link
Portfolio,
that shows
exactly what
your
you've done. Yeah.
portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. What you've done. People actually look at it because even when we're hiring, because in my teams too, we have software engineers. I go along with some software developers for the,
Yep,
and as the hiring panel where I
exactly.
judge like the interpersonal skills. They always talk about the portfolio. What have you done in the past?
Exactly.
Try to
Yeah,
go through your code, so it's always good.
absolutely.
It makes you stand out. Yeah. So the next one is about what's the difference between
Um,
UI and UX? Can someone have both or
um,
either is good?
I'm not sure of the exact difference. I know UX is user experience, UI is
Difference.
user interface, but something I understand
Different.
about can someone have both or either is good. I think um, you can have both, but I think a lot of people that have both don't necessarily. No, a lot of people that only have one thing, they have both kind of thing. So US researchers, for instance, and I'll tell you, and that's because I recently found out these things too because I'm building a product. And when it comes to UX
Mhm.
research is more like going out to understand like if you're trying to build a website now, and the website will be taking care of deliveries from one end to another. You don't have to even be a designer. Yes, you can have both. Okay, my friend just actually mentioned that you don't have even have to be a designer to do UX or UX research. A lot of things that I've seen about it is really understanding process flow implementation. How would users accept it? Is this button supposed to be at this point, or should we put it here? So
Yeah.
think about it generally as the psychology of how users adopt, technology or software, and you putting yourself in the shoe of users that will be using a specific software you're building. And that's really more of what UX, I would say, is about, at least from what I know. And I think UI is more of the
Yeah.
design. I'm not sure, someone can correct me. I think UI is the actual design and building out the templates of like having that Figma and whatever flow. You can have both. So which is like,
Yeah. I think UX is the entire user's experience on, for example, if I go
yeah,
to a particular website about a product, my entire experience are things easy,
exactly.
can I easily locate
Yep.
things? Um, the experience of that brand or that product, and then probably UI is probably about the interface, how it looks like. Is it something I'm interested in? But people usually, I mean, they tie in
Yep.
with each other nicely. So like you said, people that
Yes.
have one, they think they have both. I think, yeah. So usually, yeah. But I mean, you can do more research on that. I also have a video from someone as a product design. She talked about UI UX
Nice.
as well. So if you check my
That's amazing.
YouTube link, you will find it. So yeah, to get more information about that. So the next one is um do you think it's necessary to pay almost $8,000 for a cyber security boot camp?
I mean,
First of all, you have
first
money.
of all,
First of all,
can we be
for you
friends?
to even
Like
consider it,
close friends. I mean, so I try to like not be too one-sided about conversations like this, but I think what I can say is you can pay 1,000 for a cybersecurity bootcamp. That I think, yeah, I think I would rather answer the question that way um then we can now come back to the conversation of 8,000. And the reason I say that is because let me advise you. I'm not gonna advise you like from a professional standpoint. I'll advise you like a friend now, right? So $8,000 for a cybersecurity bootcamp. I mean, you better get me a job. Like after that, after I am done, you hold my hand and just take me to the hiring manager and say, "This is the person I told you about." Oh yeah, do your signing, whatever shit. So yeah, and get your offer
offer
letter
letter.
from there. If that is guaranteed, definitely, even $10,000, I'll pay with the way things are going. And but then a lot of problem is a lot of bootcamp promise you jobs, quote unquote. But I want a lot of people to understand now that it's jobs are not promised. You would actually have to still do the same thing most people do to get jobs, which is what? Which is applying, interviewing, except your
Mhm.
teacher is the owner of the company. That's even if an hiring manager is the one teaching you in your boot camp, I would necessarily want you to understand that when they are giving you the promises of what you're going to get, especially you want them to sign a statement that if I don't get a job, you're going to refund my money to me. And that's something I do. Whenever people are trying to apply to my program, I tell them that I don't train people because I'm going to put them in job immediately. I train them to be ready for job, and everything you need to actually get a job, you're going to get it. But that after this training, I'm saying you will get a job immediately. No, I'm not guaranteeing that. And most times that has caused people to say, I'm not going to, go to your this thing, and which is fine because, so I think when you're trying to pay $8,000 for a cybersecurity bootcamp, you need to ask a lot of questions. $8,000 in this economy is money. And, I want you to kind of like be logical about it and look for other alternatives. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying, like, why don't you look for options? And if you can save money and probably spend time, learning a lot of things and maybe yourself. But if they guarantee you a job, I think you should go for it. But if not, definitely look for alternatives on how you can save money. 8,000, oh boy. I think I will start doing cybersecurity. If I have 100 students, that's like I'm 200. I'm
Wow.
$200,000
How many?
making $1 million for. That's cool.
Exactly. I will advise that. I don't know what I know many people just want to jump into the next boot camp. My own advice is that start researching on your own first. First of all, research on your own. Now, when you can try like all those Udemy courses, or go on one of the courses on TechHub, or there's not, because some people have joined like 3 boot camps, and when you add all the money they spent on boot camps, it's almost this $8,000, to be honest. So try those, even on Udemy or whatever site you're on. There's some you can filter it based on the relevance, or like go through the review what is there. Some people say, oh, I'm a beginner, I started with this, it was really helpful. Some people say, oh, I'm a beginner, I didn't understand anything. You know that one is not for you. So start with the cheap ones first, even if you have to pay for something. Gain some knowledge first, start applying. It might even be your resume, so you have so much knowledge, but your resume is just whack. So there's so many things to try before you pay 8,000. I hope I hope that has helped. Yeah, because 8,000 is a lot. So someone asked, what's the difference between BA and BI? So that's business analyst and business intelligence. Are they related?
Well, business analysts can leverage business intelligence to get their work done. So business analysis that I know is really more like, think about, I'll just use an example to define business analysis to you that I understand, because I was a business analyst for New York City Housing Authority years ago. And what I was doing is that they were building a software that was moving people from shelters. If you guys know shelters, where homeless people stay, the software would do like a program that moves them into like affordable housing, and they don't have to pay. So during that process, they needed to gather requirements. It's more like, even I think there's a lot of things that intertwine for people that do product management, also for business analysis. And what I was doing then was like, I was more like writing the user stories and the step-by-step of what the user would do, what screen they see when they click on login. They see these screens. I was building out prototypes too. Yeah, prototypes in terms of, the way they have mock-ups, but not Figma, but mock-ups of like like a BRD, business requirement documentation, that detailed documentation of how that would work. So that's more of what business analysts do. That I know. Maybe something has changed now, but that's what I did when I was working as a business analyst. And I was also doing some SQL, because whenever they built out the databases, they wanted to test out queries like, okay, now that we have the database and the tables, let's test out how we can get the total number of users. Get the total number of users that are between the age of 18 and 15, kind of 18 and 25, sort of things like that. Now for BI is business intelligence, and a lot of things that I've seen that is related to BI is building out visualizations for like using data sets as the back end or the data source. So like Power BI, Tableau, and Click. There's one other tool like that that I forgot. It's an AWS native tool. So yeah, those are like more for like building out visualizations. And let's say you have a presentation to your senior management about time series analysis of how employees have been living and getting to your company and how much you've spent over time. You know, those anything that looks like beautiful dashboards and then filter it and then present it. That's
But
more of what BI is looking like. And maybe business analysts can also leverage that BI as a tool or like business intelligence to actually deliver their, whatever they are building to. But I know they are different, except, it's different. It's defined
yeah,
in different ways.
they're different. Mhm.
I hope that.
Thank you. Yeah. So someone has said, I want to break into tech, but I don't know where to start from. I have passion for it. Where do I start
think
from?
so. I think, yeah, you probably want to check out what your strong suit is first. And also, depending on why you want to break into it, be honest with yourself. If you want to break into tech for passion, I'll honestly say look into things like, and you don't mind taking your time, you can look into software engineering, and it's definitely you're going to get a run for your money or whatever, but you would if you have passion, you would definitely find enjoyment, fun in it, and also if you are looking for faster iterations, like you quickly want to make money and I wouldn't say software engineering. Don't go near it except you just want to add more to your frustrations. Look more into like data analysis. You can not easily, but you can learn data analysis and get a job quicker because a lot of companies are looking for it. They don't require a crazy amount of cognitive process. I want to put it that way. And also maybe cloud, but just be careful, tread carefully when it comes to cloud. And that's because cloud these days, they're asking for madness of things that you would never even imagine doing in like 3 years. But if you want to learn cloud, apart from going to a place to learn it, having people that know cloud around you goes a long way. And this is because I have met a lot of people that they spend so much amount of money, and then when they finally meet me, I'm not saying I'm a savior or something, but when they meet me, it's not even me now. It's me now telling them, oh, I'm going to introduce you to this person and this person and this person. And then while they are learning, they are reaching out to these people, and then all of the knowledge they are getting from these people are contributing to how. And also, it's also a way to continuously learn, because when you're learning cloud, honestly, I feel like you need continuous assurance from someone. This is not technical. This is like somebody that is telling you like, you can do it. Keep going. Don't worry. This part, I was there too. Just keep going. Otherwise, you just be there like you think you're the only one not understanding it. And there are a lot of things now that what's crazy and what's interesting about fields like that is that about tech generally is that there are certain things that I taught people. I've helped people get into tech. I mentored them, and today they are doing things that I don't know. And then if I want to do those things, I have to go to them like, oh, I know your job is doing this. Can you help me out with this? And they're able to help me, and I grab it faster. So understand that you are not supposed to learn everything, in its entirety. That's why you need people around you to continuously explain these things to you. Yeah.
And one thing to add to that is also like, what's your previous experience in? Is this something you enjoyed? Because there might be something in tech that is related to that. And I see that usually helps people, especially when they're interviewing, because now they can give examples based on something that really happened to them, as opposed to cramming something. And then when you get to the interview, because it's not really your experience, you tend to forget easily. So what was your previous experience in? What do you have passion in? And how can you identify transferable skills to, move into your
That's a really,
new
really
role?
good question, actually. So for me, my previous experience before I even got into tech was I was just I did my master's in economics. So immediately after that master's was when I just got into like data analysis and text. So, but so I would say the way I transitioned, I never had any transferable skills, and also then it was not as bad as now. But I'll tell you what you can do now and how to leverage transferable skills. So let's say you're doing data analysis, for instance. Look into data sets that are focused in that area of data analysis. And okay, currently I work for a company. I work for a very big healthcare company in the United States. And what we do is more like insurance, things that have to do insurance claims for people in healthcare. And then I'm like a lead
Mm-hmm.
engineer on that project. So one thing I found out was that I didn't have experience in claims. So whenever they are talking about these claim things, I feel like someone
Yeah.
who is very, very good with insurance claims, if they came into my role, they would, and that's where SMEs comes into place, like subject matter expertise. You can easily transfer skill
Yeah.
sets like that, and it would help you understand it better because now you are interpreting it from the sense of the experience you had before. Like, oh, when we come to claims, we've had situations where people come into office and they file their claims, and it takes 3 business days to process. So maybe when you're seeing what the data looks like and you are seeing something above 3 days, you're already understanding where that direction is going, and you'll be shocked that a lot of times when you are doing presentations, it's what you say that they actually enjoy the most. So, and that applies to people in music too. I've seen people that they were previously musicians or they love music, and their job is like working with a company that does like streaming platforms, and they enjoy seeing data sets of different artists stream and doing the analysis of what came here between which day, how many percentage increase was there. So that's something that I know has worked for people that I have actually taught that they have transferable skills. It works for healthcare, finance, insurance, entertainment, and what other one do I know? Education too. So there was a time, well, right now I'm building my product, and my experience, because even while building my product, I have to be very hands-on. I'm the one building the infrastructure, developing modules, creating requirements, products. And because I've taught people before and I understand that, well, when you create a training, you want to split payment into 3 parts. So I'm letting the user experience guy know that no, we cannot have this here. We can actually put it this way. So that is also me contributing to a body of knowledge of what certain people are building because of my experience doing something. I find joy in building it. If you tell me to come and build a product in, let's say, healthcare now, honestly, I'm going to struggle because I don't know anything about healthcare and all that stuff. So yeah, I would say it's
Okay.
really good to like practice around things you have experiences from.
Yeah. So someone
No,
asked if
I
you teach
don't.
cybersecurity.
Actually, I know a couple of people that teach cybersecurity. In fact, I know one specific person that I think joined this call. His name is Wale. And I think, yeah, he's a very, I've seen like, people that have actually gone through his training school and they're doing absolutely well. And he has experience. He works for like, bigger companies. He consults with like bigger companies, and he also generally has passion for helping people. And that's one of the things you want to look out for in educators. Don't look out for educators because there are some educators, they just really care about getting your money and then leaving you to. So there are certain educators that they really
Yeah.
genuinely want to teach and want to help people. So, and that's a different ballgame entirely. And I mean, you can reach out to me. I can do some introductions for you. Yeah, and but it's someone I would definitely recommend also.
Okay. The one I know is just for ladies, cyber girls. So I don't know if you're a guy or or a woman. So you can check that out if you're a woman. So the next question is, and thank you very much for, answering all these questions. Well, thank you. Pivoting from accounting to data science, currently doing a master's, how can I make myself stand out? Any recommended websites for projects or
So,
certification?
number one, for data science, data analysis, data stuff, try to remove project out of the equation. And because no, I don't think any employer in their sane mindset would ask for certification for someone that wants to be a data scientist. And So let me tell you something about data science, right? Data science is really, I work with data scientists, and so you might want to, depending on your sense of urgency into getting into data, I think you might want to look into data analysis. And there's a very big difference between data analysis and data science. And I know you most likely know that. If you're doing like a program in data science, definitely you should definitely, have a very good idea of it. So data science is very academic, and it involves, especially if you're doing data science that focuses strictly on like prediction, building models and algorithms. It's really academic, and you have to actually do maths, like real maths, like tangents, all those, think about this craziness. But
Wow.
but recently there are
Yeah.
a lot of tools that you can leverage that it wouldn't be as sophisticated as that. And a lot of data science roles that I have seen, they are asking for like PhD people that have done research in certain areas. Yeah, data science. No, but in data analysis, you might be able to smoothly
Okay.
transition into data science from data analysis. At least with my company, when we put out applications for data scientists, they are really looking for like PhD, people that have PhD, not even PhD. And you know what's crazy? Not PhD in data science. They're actually looking for people that have PhD in like electrical engineering, mathematics,
In
and
math.
all this area. And yeah, and that's because they understand the kind of problems they solve, like
Yeah.
differential equations, like linear
Mm.
algebra, and all of those.
Mm.
So because it helps with predictions and
Yeah.
modeling. So and this is not even to
Mm.
discourage. This is just from a place of my experience and then what I have seen in science, and getting their first role is crazy. It's tough. It's so tough. But if you can get yourself into data analysis and then see the need for your company to have a data scientist, and you kind of like learn around the community of data scientists, you can easily transition into data science if you're dedicated to it. And don't worry about certifications.
Is that-
So for
oh,
websites, um, so right now, TechTech has transitioned from a place where we are creating projects for people. TechTech is now a platform for educators to actually create their own training, mentorship program, and then give out to people. So it's not necessarily going to be the best place to get, except that I would introduce you to some of the educators using the platform that we find really helpful, and we can say, check out these educators. But you can also reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to show you some educators that would be very helpful that are using the platform.
all right. Thank you. So I wanted to ask this question now. What do you have anybody, any websites, or for people trying to go into
Yeah.
software engineering? I know you mentioned software engineering too. And also, do you think maybe it's better to go into front end first or back end, or just prepare for full stack? What
And the
advice do
advice
you
I
have
have on
on
that
that?
is to actually start with HTML, JavaScript. And a lot of people miss those things, and they just
Mhm.
go into like working with like even maybe like component libraries, or like using what do they call it? Frameworks, like maybe React or whatever. So if you want to learn software
Yeah.
engineering, honestly start with CSS, HTML, JavaScript. Those three things, they'll go a long way. And then you can check out, there's this guy called Mosh on YouTube. I feel like he's one of the most, Mosh,
More.
Mosh on YouTube. And when I was learning software engineering, that I never graduated or from, because I felt like, nah, I don't have the time again. It was very helpful. I feel like someone who can actually sit down and take their time. So yeah, Mosh Ahmed, thank you for that. Yeah, is everyone that is currently a software engineer or that has gone through that phase. Most people know Mosh. Mosh is like one of the most amazing. He has a free solid 1 hour on HTML, and if you sit down, you will find it very. It's really tough to teach software engineering, and I don't know how he does it. Check out Mosh on YouTube, and you thank me at some point, or you thank Joy, Tips and Joy at some point. But yeah, that's the only one I know for now. Maybe if people have any other ones, you can definitely recommend that for sure.
Yeah. And do you think like going into maybe start with front end first, or just learning everything, or
It
you
depends
think
on
What do you
interest
advise on
too.
that? Yeah.
So from
Okay.
those that I've
Okay.
known and their experience working through this, most people they learn HTML and CSS and they try to see if it's
Mm-hmm.
something they really love. If they don't love it, then they focus
Right.
more on the back end part. That's when you like learn a lot of JavaScript, of course. Even when you're doing front end, you still learn JavaScript
Good.
because a lot of frameworks are built on top of
Sure.
JavaScript, Node, React, anything you want to do for the most part. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
be solid in no, try to learn. If you want to learn front end, of course, HTML and CSS, and then if you're not finding too much, interest in it, just get into JavaScript. Like get yourself deep into JavaScript as a backend engineer, and then pick up something like Node.js or whatever. At least that one I would say. Maybe Python too. Python has
Okay.
different frameworks like Django, Fast API, Flask, but and Python is a little more easier, but it would be very good for backend for the
Yeah.
most part. Or PHP, Laravel. I think those those ones are maybe older, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, but I see a lot of PHP rules these days, but that's fine. So we'll answer two more questions because the questions just keep coming in. Um, I'm trying to switch to InfoSec from testing, but I'm finding it really hard to crack interviews. Any advice that can help? Just did my
Um,
CISM as well.
so I think the cracking of the interviews is, that kind of sounds academic, Sha. I mean, just from my own viewpoint. So, I mean, for me, I've never really cracked interviews. The way I think about interviews nowadays is just creating a story, having driving conversations out of it. And that goes back to the question of who are the people you're interviewing with too. And there are some interviewers that really just make life tough for you. Me, when I'm doing interviews, the moment you start asking me questions like, what are the type of this, how many type of this do we have, I start losing interest in the job because
Yeah.
I don't like structured. I don't like it when it gets too structured, and you don't even get the best out of me then. So for cracking interviews, I would say the only thing you should think about is have your story, have your use cases of how you've done testing, and that comes with doing projects for testing is not easy. I would say that one for sure. Find a team, a startup, find someone building a software and offer to help them with their testing. Ask for what they want, create different test cases and automated. I don't know if you're doing automated testing or manual testing, but regardless of whatever
Yes.
testing you're doing, you can definitely create use cases for yourself and have that, story to tell because most times,
Sure.
honestly, good
Yes.
interviewers and good companies, they are not looking for you to sound structured. Is it A or B? Is B. If it's B, what it
Mm-hmm.
is? Or two A, two B. Those things are very, very, I feel like they are whack and they don't get the best out of you as a candidate. So look for interviews that would, and that's why you keep applying because you will probably keep running into interviews that require you
Yeah.
to cram things. I don't think we should be cramming and doing things like that. Yeah. So
Yes.
find a story
Definitely.
to tell about testing that you've done, like softwares that has been built that you actually run end-to-end testing process, automated, how you got into the code base and wrote different cases, and how you've continuously got user feedback and integrated that into like your testing and whatnot. But that's as far as I know about testing. I'm not like a professional tester, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So like on tips and joy
Yeah.
too, I always share a lot of interview tips. And generally interviews are about first of all your confidence because you might even meet people that they're purposely trying to, test you. So it's how you can shine with your confidence and how do you even have that confidence? You said you have done testing. Try to look back on what you have done. Do you have a lot of examples? Because they always want, interviewers want people they can relate to. So do you have a lot of examples about the job? Make sure that in whatever questions you're asked, they're answering, you're adding those examples there. Many people do not really do that. So you can really shine because sometimes when you ask people questions, they just give you a direct answer. But when you give an answer with an example, it shows that you have experienced that and you can probably help them in their own situation. So I would say confidence, practicing those, because some people also get shy when they're talking to people over like on video calls or even in person. So practicing to and preparing stories, like Plato said, preparing stories and examples, it would really help you in whatever field that you're in. So that is, yeah. Someone said, I got a data analyst job twice and things didn't go well because I'm not well rounded. What will you advise? Because I know I still have a
I got a
lot to
data
learn.
analyst job. Did you get an offer and or like like an interview
It sounded like you
and
started
things didn't go
the role.
well? Okay. So it depends. It depends on how the definition of things didn't go well. Like I don't think if you get a data analyst job and you resumed the first one, it didn't go well. If you also resumed the second one, it didn't go well. Like is it like you got laid off or you just stopped because you feel like it didn't go well? It's not going well or you're not understanding. So we have to be sure of exactly what viewpoint. So but I can explain two cases. If someone, let's say the first one, you got the first job, it didn't go well, like you didn't know what you're doing, and then you got laid off. I feel like it's more like a wake up call to say, well, I need, which even at that is really tough. I would say it's really tough to get a job and then get laid off because the process of getting a job alone in itself, they screen you, they make sure they like you, and they invest so much in you. So being laid off, I feel personally, I feel like it's even tough for someone to get laid off, but I might be wrong. And then on top of that, to actually consecutively get laid off twice, that's actually very, 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 very weird. But if you actually walk out of the job itself just because you think you can do it, that's probably some imposter syndrome, which you're not the only one. Like even me, I still have imposter syndrome with like building, with like, working for people, getting things done. But eventually those things will fade off. The first one I was able to finish the contract, but the second one I got laid off. Oh, I see what you mean now. I mean, I feel like the second one, I getting laid off for the second one, maybe. Hmm,
So many reasons.
yeah,
And there's so many
there's so many lot of
reasons
reasons.
that you might, to be honest, it's not really,
Exactly.
sometimes it's not really about your
So
work.
I wouldn't say you should beat yourself and feel like you can. I would say, in fact, getting a job twice, it's not even a joke. So
I'm
so
telling
whatever you
you.
did to get those jobs, do them. But now just prepare more for like what could come. And one thing I always do is like when I get a new job or when people get a new, I don't even know the last time I got a job, but when people get new jobs, I tell them like ask a lot of questions, make it look like you're in school, like write things down when you're in meetings, take a lot of notes, understand the process of what they do. And a lot of managers or hiring managers, they love when people ask questions. Of course, the right questions, not questions that is so obvious that you don't know what you're doing, but ask really, really great questions on how you can help. It shows the enthusiasm for like that you're trying to help and you're trying to contribute and solve problems that they are going through. So please, I think you shouldn't, necessarily think you are the problem. They can even say it's your
Yeah.
performance when it's not your performance, and they're just trying to, cut budgets and stuff. Yeah.
Look
Especially
for a reason.
recently and
Yeah.
the things that have
True.
been going
True.
on. So yeah. Yeah.
And there's so many other reasons. Somebody
Exactly.
might not
Yeah.
like you, and
Yeah.
then the person starts picking
Yeah.
faults in everything you
You
do.
can also reach
So
out
it's,
if you
yeah.
need
But
like
well done though.
projects to build your confidence. Like I could recommend project for you to do. And that would kind of like maybe increase your confidence too, and help you upskill.
Yeah. I was saying well done on getting
Yeah,
a job twice,
it's
because in
crazy.
this market, only the gurus are, or only, I mean, only someone that is
Yep,
very, very persistent
absolutely.
I mean, that kind of people that get in. Yeah. Yeah. So, before we round up, I wanted to ask, I mean, if you can share more information about Tech Chat HQ, just, I mean, any training packages, anything
Oh, thank
about
you, thank you,
your
thank
company.
you, thank you. So right now, we're in the process of we're having a big change and a big shift in our operations and then general model as a company. What we're doing now is we are helping educators that need a platform to actually teach other people. But then the problem is that they cannot build a website. It's expensive to have a software that, and also you don't, a lot of, I've seen a lot of people teach classes on WhatsApp, and it's all cool and fine, but the problem is that they are not able to like deliver the trainings effectively. They are not able to like track their users and administer the trainings the right way. So our platform is technically a place where you can spin up your own online school, your own training, your workshops, or like your master class, whatever you want to do. And you can have a record of your users and then track their progress, give them assignments, and get paid from there without having to think about a software. You just have to like have just register as an educator, and then you can tell your users to go there. And on the other end too, we are also occasionally we try to like help the community in terms of people that are looking for anything in tech, and we do like recommendations to them. We can even, I think we're even sponsoring a couple of people. We sponsored a couple of people recently to an educators program to say, okay, you know what, we can actually help you get into this educators program without you paying, just to help you if you really need the help. But yeah, that's practically what we do now. A space for educators to create training and have a seamless administrations for the trainings.
All right. Thank you. You guys should check it out. I feel like you have, as in, like I have so many questions. You have so many things to
Oh, well,
share. It's
that's
already
true.
over
That went
now.
back by so
Someone was
fast.
crying so fast. Yeah, yeah. Well, someone asked if your company is hiring. I think you guys should check it out. They'll probably have it on
Hopefully,
their page, or in case
I
they're,
don't even know
yeah.
if I'm hiring.
Yeah.
No. Maybe.
Then someone asked a question about DevOps.
Already
I'm trying
CI
to get into
tools.
DevOps.
Already CI tools, Docker, now working on K. How much do I need? Man, I feel like you are. So, and this is, I mean, it's really great that you're learning these things, but don't, for instance, now, if you think about Helm is actually a template, a template you use to deploy Kubernetes resources. I mean, this your life is about to get technical. I'm just being careful not to throw people off. But everything that you're saying here is more like you're trying to build microservices, right? And it's great, but I'm just, I don't want you to skip the foundational parts, especially if you don't have experience. But if you have experience in cloud, that's absolutely fine. But if you don't have experience in cloud, I don't want you to skip the fundamental parts, which are like basic application deployment, determining how to where you want to deploy your front end application and the back end application. If you think about Kubernetes itself and Dockerization, it's practically a bunch of small microservice and applications that you're trying to orchestrate to work as one and communicate with themselves, and then deployment strategy for those, and how you want to continuously build and push those into like a registry, and then there's a service in front of maybe like your gates that is serving it. And you can look into like EKS if you want to do something like that. Just honestly, the best way to learn those things is projects. Like if you're trying to read about them, you would cry. So do project, yeah, do project in them. And a very good example of project you can do is look for open source codes, like find like different code base and try to build each of those code base in a pipeline and push them into like a ECR, like Elastic Container Registry, push them there, and then use EKS as a service to power them up, fire them up, and build your service deployments, and then push those through, and then have like you do a lot of CI/CD with that. Honestly, just reach out, and I don't, yeah, it's so
Yeah. It
much.
seems like you have
Yeah,
so much to
I don't
share
want
with the
to,
person. Yeah.
because my current
Yeah.
my
To
application
get to
right now is
technical.
built on top of microservices. That's why I'm more passionate about, and I don't.
Okay.
You don't want the
So
smoke
about
here.
all right, no problem. To round it up, many people are going through imposter syndrome. Like, and many people are, it feels like for people that are migrating from one country to probably North America or the UK, all of them, they hear about tech and they want to transition. Now, imposter syndrome has happened to, I mean, you've had that feeling.
Yeah.
Almost everybody has had that feeling. What's your own advice on managing that? And we'll round up with this. Yeah.
The way I try to manage imposter syndrome for myself is I'm not even sure if I've really managed it effectively. I honestly just understand that I talk to people that are that have gone farther than me in this field, and I ask them about imposter syndrome. And each time I ask them, I found out they've actually been at this point also. And most times they just tell me, don't worry, you'll be fine. Like, we've been there. The fact that they continuously assure me that, you know, it's a phase that everyone goes through, and it goes down, like it reduces by the day. Just so you know, it's not something that, you know, it's gonna be up or get worse. You're gonna eventually, you know, get a hang of it. But to start with, it's completely fine. It's okay, because think about it, you're just transitioning from nothing, and then one morning you start making like $120,000 a year, and then you don't even have that much deep experience, and you still keep thinking, one day someone's gonna find out I don't know this thing and they're gonna fire me. But then you don't. It's kind of crazy, because you don't even know what you know. Because in the process of, you know, having the fear, you are building up a lot of skills, because you are worried about, you know, things that you think you don't know, and you'll be surprised that people that have more experience than you don't even have they don't even have the knowledge you have. The only difference is that they have more confidence. And the way to work on that confidence is to continuously interact with people that are, you know, engage in more conversations with people that know more than you do. And that will continuously make you feel among and feel like you are contributing. The moment you start feeling like you are contributing to something, the imposter syndrome starts reducing. But when my first meeting when I was working at WWE is like, I practically told that was the height for me. I'm like, okay, I don't think I can last 3 days here, because you see, when they ask a question, this guy will come up with the suggestions with the big grammars. I was just writing. I don't know what I was writing, but I was just writing. And at the end of, you know, everything, I found out that the people that even talk the most, when you tell them, oh yeah, do it, they don't even know what to do. And and those are the people that you're looking at saying, you know, I don't know when I'll ever get to this stage. Am I good enough? So I think you should interact more with people that, you know these things way more than you do, and find your way of contributing, and then that would boost your confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Honestly,
Yeah.
there's so many questions, but because of the time. Thank you. I'm hoping that maybe sometime later,
Yeah,
if you
of
have some time,
course.
we can, do this again. Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you.
really, really insightful, and I've enjoyed
Thank
it. I'm
you.
sure everybody here has. Yeah, thanks everyone
Thank you,
for joining. I
everyone.
really
Thanks for the
appreciate you
time.
guys.
And have a
Thank you
good.
so much. And yeah,
Yeah, and you too.
thank you. Have a good
All
rest
right.
of your day. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Bye.